This is your English Future Leaders Show with Hody Ben Music Drive. Hello, dear listener. We are now 5:15 and we're back in the studio with JP on the mic with our Future Leaders Initiative. So as normal, we have Tuesday and Thursday. We have the guest in, and today we have welcome. We receive our guest, and this guest is very important. I believe today we have be having a very crucial topic. And before I can present the topic of today, I will first welcome our guest. So, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about yourself a little bit?
Yes. My name is Tracy Dexter. I was born in New York.
Okay.
That's where I grew up, and I studied in the USA. I also studied law. And whilst studying law, I became interested in international law, particularly in the protection of human rights. Mm-hmm. And through those studies, I got very interested in other countries and the situation of human rights, even though it's also a topic of great importance in my country, because even though it's a long-standing democracy, the defense of fundamental human rights is always necessary. So I worked in my country and then also wanted to know other countries and be able to contribute. So that's one way that I arrived in Burundi around the time of the Arusha peace process. And I worked with a non-governmental organization.
That's great. So this is Tracy. We'll be having a topic with her. And the topic of today is going to be youth with different political views. How can they start to live together in regardless of their... Today's topic is going to be youth with political views or with different political views. How can they succeed to live together? But first, I want to ask the guest we are within the studio this question. We know politics is only for all the people. But do you think also youth can be interested with politics?
Of course. Of course. And in fact, I've had the opportunity to work in some dialogue sessions with the political leaders of probably the next generation. We called them the old men.
Okay.
There weren't very many women participating, unfortunately, but we also were in dialogue with young people who were affiliated with different political parties. And the older people really, really cared about what the young people had to say. And they also cared about telling the young people to take care that because they belong to a political party, they shouldn't be manipulated by their elders. They shouldn't be manipulated by others around them. They belong to a political party because they have certain ideals, and they want to work with others to bring about a certain way of managing the country so that all citizens profit, all citizens live together.
Okay, thank you. So I want to try to ask the same question a little bit. Well, do you think is it a necessity for youth to be fully involved in politics? I mean, youth participation in a political life of a country, in any democratic country. Do you think is it a necessity, or just they can live out of politics and leave it for the old men as it did before?
No, it's absolutely necessary, and it's one of the tenets of a democracy that inclusion and participation is for each and every one. It's part of, in fact, the duties of citizens, at least at the age that they become major or adult in quotation marks, which it can be 18, it can be 21, but at a very young age, citizens have rights as well as duties, and I think the young people have a duty to be involved in political life. But also, like I said, the older politicians said to take care, because it is a learning process, and it's something that needs to be reflected on and lived through carefully.
Okay, thank you very much. And I feel that's great for all those who are listening to this program and they are youth. There's like, we thought that's only for old men. So we still have our space as well. That's good. Yes, dear listeners who are listening to the Future Young Leaders English Show, here we're back again in the studio with this topic. We've Tracy in the studio. And the topic is youth with different political ideals. How can they succeed to live together regardless of their political affiliation and belief as well? So we've Tracy, we come to understand that also youth can be part of the different political parties. That's not a problem. They can also hand in something as well. That's not a problem. But the question I want to ask Tracy is this. Yes, I understand they can be involved in political parties, but are they following are they understanding what they're following? Yes, I want to be part of it, but do I understand the concept, the ideals? I'm just following like a cow, like a goat, to be manipulated, or I understand, I follow what I understand. What's your take on that?
It's crucial to really reflect and to try to understand what. And in order to try to understand, to ask political leaders and ask colleagues in your political group, what really are the fundamental points? What is the finality of a political ideology? I know that you don't spend all day philosophizing or perhaps doing research, but I think when you decide that you're going to adhere to a party, it means there must be something concrete. You need to know what exactly is your political party or the political system doing for the citizens in the country. And it's not just to say, well, we're strong, we're in power, we're trying to gain power. Power to do what? And I think that's where the youth have such an important role. Sometimes to remind the more experienced politicians, and also to form themselves into asking the question, with what are we going to do once we have power? We hear the president of the Republic speaking on Inauguration Day, on the 1st of the year, on May 1st, the Workers' Day. He has a long message with what we call a project of society or a political platform, where we need to talk about, in particular, the basic needs of all the citizens and how we're going to go about accomplishing that. And I don't think it's in really just staying very, very isolated in one political ideology that the system is enhanced. So the young people are asking questions. They question themselves. They question others, and try to understand really what is it all about.
Yeah, that's it. What is it all about? And the part do what? That's the question Tracy is asking the studio. So I understand they have access to get in a political party. That's not a problem, and have the power. And the part do what? So I would appreciate to ask this question. Yes, they're there. They have this power, and they are part of it. So the youth who are listening to this program, or those who are affiliated in these political parties, what is their contribution to strengthen the democracy of their country? Because at the end of the day, you're in a political party for a unique interest, strengthen their democracy and the sociability in your country. Then what do you think can be their contribution? What can our youth contribute to strengthen the democracy of his own country?
I think contribution is a really good term because our political system, our political leaders, our members of parties, of which are the youth, are there to serve. It's service. And so when we talk about contribution, it can be in a number of different avenues, but all with the aim of serving better their community, their nation. I see a lot of youth associations, young people getting together to help out others, often to pass messages, whether it's in sensitization campaigns, whether it's in demonstrating certain skills and practices that the people around them may not have had access to, in promoting good health and really some of the basic needs of people that young people who are organized in with a political message can take care of.
Okay, thank you very much. And I believe people who are listening to this program, they are learning a lot from this topic and a lot from our speaker of today. And right after the song, we come back and look on this angle. We look on a social level now. How can this youth, and regardless of their political affiliation, how can they happen or succeed to live together? Because at the end of the day, back in the hood, back in the neighborhood, they have no choice but live together. So how can they succeed to live together in regardless of their political affiliation? That's the question that's coming very next. Thank you. And now we're going to look on a social level right now with youth in different political affiliation. Yeah, we understand they can be involved, as Tracy said here. But the question next is, yeah, they are in different political affiliation, political parties now, but they live in the same neighborhood. How can they succeed to live together in that neighborhood in regardless of their political ideology? Because at the end of the day, they live in the same neighborhood. So what is your take on that?
Mm-hmm. I think the beginning and the end of everything, I'm going to repeat myself, but there are the needs and the basic interests of all citizens. And I think that each political party will have a platform, a program, an ideology that will include some of the same elements as the other. And I think that, when you're living in proximity, in your neighborhood, you need to be looking at those common elements as well. Diversity is excellent. Diversity brings strength. I know from my own country that it's the United States is a country of immigrants from all over the world, from every region, every religion, every language, and that diversity somehow makes our country very strong. Right from the beginning. But there was also a way to say, what do we all need? We all need security. We all need development so that we can be able to eat, have shelter, clothe ourselves, and get education. And all of that we need to do in without violence, without tensions. And I think the youth tend to be more open-minded. I mean, that is a quality of youth, and I think that's a quality that youth should be employing in their communities, even if they do belong to political parties, and if you're open-minded and if you can recognize the rights, the interests, the common needs of the other, then I think the way you might go about achieving some of those goals that's fine. That's where the diversity and the creativity comes in. But to really keep in the forefront, the commonalities and your common humanity.
Yeah, that's it. So the only point you're saying is the strength of diversity. You live in the same neighborhood, having different political affiliation. You should look at your diversity as a strength, not a point of violence. Thank you for that word. Yeah, Tracy, looking at your business card, I can see it's written RCN, Justice and Democracy. So probably working things related to human rights, justice and democracy, that's it. So I want to ask this question, and the question is this. Having democracy in Burundi, do you think how can youth regard this democracy as a privilege, a gift, that youth can embrace right now and strengthen it for the future generation to know that this thing we've got, it's a privilege. So how can we work hard to embrace it and not lose it today, only so that even our future generation can benefit from it?
Mm-hmm. Thanks. That's a great question. And I think you've really brought up an important point about democracy being a privilege. And young people in Burundi have a gift that their leaders, and in particular political leaders, have already fought for, and that is this democratic system. You see young people all over the world and over the last few years in the Arab world who are just in the midst of what they call a revolution. They're living in countries where they don't have democratic systems in place. They don't have a constitution that guarantees equal rights for all citizens and even tries to put in place mechanisms so that disadvantaged groups or historically discriminated groups have also a guaranteed place to participate in the democracy. I really think that it's nothing to take lightly. Once that system is in place, there are really many options, and it's not something that everybody has. Some of the young people in the political movements that I've met with, I think they really do value and cherish the democratic system that they've been able to grow in, and that they see themselves consolidating, because it is still new in Burundi, but the base is there. It just must be maintained in a peaceful, constructive way, in using peaceful words, peaceful actions, to exchange. Yeah, people in different parties, they may have different ideas. They need to exchange those ideas. They can actually enrich each other. But they don't also have to personalize the different ideas that others have and have someone else be an enemy because those ideas are different. No, really take account of what's happening in other parts of the world and the struggle that the young people are still in. And it's not just for their economic status, or it's really just to be counted at all.
Thank you. That was on level regarding democracy as a privilege, as a gift that you should embrace with on a high level with much value. Looking at other countries, as you said. So I really appreciate that point. So let us go on with this topic. I believe it's very interesting and full of information. I can say full of meat. Does it? Yeah, here we are. So we have already looked at democracy as a privilege in a country that you should embrace. That's it, what Tracy was saying. But I want to ask Tracy this question. You are a youth, and you are affiliated in a political party. And right now, you don't know why you're there. Maybe you're there because somebody has gone there as your friend, and like a poll is there, and I want to be there as well. So that's going to be a problem. How can that be a problem? How can that be a threat to a good governance or a threat to a good, democracy?
In fact, the way you put it, I think what you're describing is sort of the evils of ignorance.
That's it.
And not to be
it.
too theoretical, but I mean, I've seen in some circumstances, if you really, for example, if you don't know how to drive a car, and you get in the car, and you get behind the wheel, you start driving, it's not unusual that you're going to have an accident. And so I think, it's the same with ideas, and it's the same in your social setting. If you're joining a group, it's a political party. There's a certain cohesion there, but you need to understand what it's about. And I want to go back to the experience that I had when the older political leaders said to the younger members of the movements, "Don't let yourself be manipulated." What does that mean? I think it's related to what you're saying, Jean-Paul, about young people signing up and joining in a movement but not really knowing what it's all about. And thinking that, I belong to this party, which means that I am probably stronger or better, or I need to exclude someone else. And, that can create bad feelings, that can create bad acts. And it's not related to something real. It's not related to the idea that actually I am putting myself in a stronger position to go with other people because either we want to change something so our community is better, or we want to maintain something that's already good, which may actually be the cohesion, the relative peacefulness in the community. And, if you're not taking account of that, as the others said, I'm not saying it myself, you can be drawn in, you can be manipulated, and that means going forward with actions that aren't constructive.
Thank you. Tracy, I'd like that take of yours, and let us have, I see we are running out of time, but let us have a word of finality. We are having a guest in the show, as I said, Tracy is here. We are having this topic of youth with different political parties. How can they succeed to live together in regardless of their political ideals? And we are learning a lot, but before we put on this program, I would welcome Tracy to give us a word of finality to conclude or to end up on this topic that our listeners are profiting, are learning more from her. So, Tracy, you're welcome.
Thanks. I do appreciate being able to exchange with you on this because, once again, I think that in Burundi, we have a system that's extremely valuable, extremely precious. It's a new system. Young, old, male, female, everyone needs to be involved, to participate in basically managing the system, and it's that's what we call politics, and I think the young people can really keep it very constructive and peaceful and diverse.
Thank you. Very constructive, peaceful, and diverse. That's the last word of finality. So we've been listening to Future Leader Initiative Show with JP on the mic. Thank you for your careful listening. We've come to the end of this program. Thank you.